Packers 49ers. You get our winners here and a lot of sponsored content like last week's punter rankings, the MLS Super Draft live stream, some interviews. But yeah, Jordan Love, he does not have Bakhtiari at left tackle, but, Rasheed Walker's gotten a lot better. Elgin Jenkins should play in this game. Josh Myers, John Runyon Jr., Zach Tom. You have Watson. And Romeo Dobbs went off last week. I mean, I told you he had the ability to be a number one receiver, and he didn't show it for most of the regular season, but he showed it in the playoffs. Jaden Reed's your slot. You have Torrey. You have Dontavian Wicks. You got Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, Tyler Davis before he got cut. Just very good to have that duo of Musgrave and Kraft. I thought both had starter potential and both have been lethal. A.J. Dillon was a limited participant on Friday, but he did miss the first 2 days of practice. He is questionable. Aaron Jones will be healthy, though. You have Clark, Devontae Wyatt at 34 right end, 34 left end, Terdell Slayton at nose tackle. You also have Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks for depth at 5 technique. Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary are the edge rushers at 34 right outside linebacker and 34 left outside linebacker. Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker are healthy. You have Lucas Van Ness. Kingsley Ngabare is out for this game. Isaiah McDuffie got injured. So the Packers don't really have a lot of depth at linebacker. Now, Jair Alexander is questionable. He was limited practice on Wednesday. He's missed the last 2 practices, and he was projected to miss practice on Tuesday. So if Jair Alexander is out, the Packers will not have their number 1 or number 2 corner, and they traded their number 3 corner, Rasul Douglas, to the Bills. Carrington Valentine is a guy I like coming out of Kentucky. He's thrived as a rookie. Keyshawn Nixon, nickel corner, team captain. You also have Corey Ballantyne as your dime corner, and you have Robert Rochelle as your number 5 quarter corner in 5 receiver sets. I doubt the Niners would deploy those, but the Packers have the personnel to combat a Brock Purdy Hail Mary. Now, you have Jonathan Owen starting in relief of Rudy Ford, and Darnell Savage did come back from his injury. So there's that. And then you have Anders Carlson at kicker. And Pat O'Donnell's the punter. So those are my notes on the Packers. And the reason I'm pausing because I'm typing on the site, reloading something. Niners have Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Burford, and Colton McKivitz taking over for McGlinchey. You have Jalen Moore for depth, Nick Zakelj, Feliciano, Matt Pryor is the backup right tackle. Outside of Pryor, I think everybody on that offensive line can be an asset at times in the roles they're in. Now, the backups are not assets if Trent Williams or Aaron Banks goes down, but they can be assets when healthy. You have Ronnie Bell and you have Jawan Jennings in the slot. You have Ronnie Bell as your number 4. You have Ray McLeod as your number 5. You have Chris Conley as your number 6 after Danny Gray got placed on season-ending IR. George Kittle, top starting tight end. Top 5 tight end, only tight end to exceed 1,000 receiving yards in the regular season. You have McCaffrey. You have Elijah Mitchell. You have Jordan Mason. Nick Bosa wants to be the league's highest paid defensive player. Second overall pick in the 2019 draft. You also have Clelin Ferrell starting next to him, but with Ferrell ruled out for this game, either Chase Young or Randy Gregory is going to start. My guess is Chase Young will start. Drake Jackson began the year starting next to Nick Bosa, but he got placed on IR in Week 10. He has not been activated off of IR. And with Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell inactive, my guess is Chase Young will start next to Bosa. Hargrave and Armstead are both starting at defensive tackle after Armstead missed the stretch with injuries. Kevin Gibbons and Javon Kinlaw are both the backups. You have Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner at right outside and middle linebacker in a 43 and a 4-2-5. You have Oren Burks at left outside linebacker in a 43. But he's also the backup 43 outside linebacker at 4-2-5 packages. D. Winters is the backup middle linebacker. And then Jalen Graham is the backup left outside linebacker in 43 packages. You also have Ambry Thomas, who took the number 2 corner job from DeAndre Lenore. And Ambry Thomas began the year as the number 4 corner because Lenore ended up beating out Isaiah Oliver for the number 2 job. Everybody expected Oliver to beat out Lenore and begin the year as the number 2 corner, but Lenore ended up beating out Oliver. Oliver moved down to nickel, and then Oliver got benched for Ambry Thomas in week 7. And Ambry Thomas, a guy who missed some of last year with injuries after getting some early playing time in year 2, not only did he take the number nickel job, he ended up taking the number 2 corner job from Lenore. And you also have Darrell Luter Jr. as the cornerback. Even with Hufanga tearing his ACL, you have Jair Brown at strong safety, Gibson at free safety. Jake Moody's been great all year. Mitch Wisnowski's the punter. And then you've got Ray McLeod as your return specialist. Alex Kemp is the referee in this game. The Niners have won their last 4 by Kemp. The last time the Niners lost with Alex Kemp, it was Christian McCaffrey's 49er debut against the Chiefs. My guess is the Niners will be penalized fewer times. I think the Niners win this game, but the Packers cover the spread. I mean, honestly, the Ravens should only be favored by 6.5. The Niners should only be favored by 7. I know that's going to sound subjective to say, Joey, but that is the reality in my opinion. I honestly think that, and you and Tracy were the only 2 to take the Packers. Lisa had the Niners winning the Super Bowl this year. She wanted to pick the Packers, and with first place secured, she really doesn't have an excuse for not picking the Packers. I mean, she's allowed to do what she wants, but at the same time, it's like if you're a Packer fan and you've already got first place for the year locked up, you should just pick the Packers for the fandom, for the hell of it. But at the same time, I can respect her decision. I think the Niners are the better team on paper. They should win. But if Purdy has a layoff or a bad game and Jordan Love just plays out of his mind once again, the Packers can steal. If Romeo Doubs goes over 100 yards and Watson goes over 100 yards, I do think the Packers would have the formula for beating the Niners unless Purdy just plays out of his mind. 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns would be needed to beat Love in that situation. But yeah, he'd need a minimum of 3 to win in that scenario, and he'd probably need 4 to be realistic. But, I've got the Niners winning 28-21. I do think this is going to be a very close, very competitive game. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Joey?
I wasn't sure about this one, and I really thought really thought hard about it, and I'm getting upset. I really like the momentum that's going on for the Packers, and especially offensively. And if they can hold that, sorry, you're breaking up.
I'm not breaking up, Joey. It must be an issue on your end.
Yeah, it might be. Weather's sucked here lately. But yeah, I'm thinking upset here in this matchup.
I mean, it can happen. I think the only way it happens, though, is if Dobbs plays like he did against Dallas last week and Watson goes off for 100 yards. I think that is literally the only way the Packers would upset the 49ers. But I'm not dismissing it either. The fact that I have the Packers covering the spread but losing to San Francisco should tell you all you need to know. And if Jair Alexander is out, I probably will change to San Francisco covering the spread. But right now, assuming Alexander plays, I've got the Packers covering the spread and losing. The injury to Rudy Ford is a big reason why I think the 49ers will win, and I think Kittle will end up being the X factor in this game. I honestly won't be surprised if both Kittle and Musgrave go off in this game. because both teams have injuries at safety with Hufanga out for the year and with Rudy Ford on IR. I would not be surprised if this turns into a tight end fest between Kittle and Musgrave. Because honestly, that's the direction I'm leaning in for how I think the game will turn out. But if Watson goes off, Dobbs plays like he did last week, and Musgrave plays just as good as Kittle, I'm not sure how the Packers would lose in that scenario. It'd probably be 30. We're probably looking at 35 to 49 points minimum, 35 maximum 49. Even against the defense as good as San Francisco's. But San Francisco's 14th in pass defense. I think the Packers are in the bottom 10 in total yards and touchdowns allowed on defense. But that's not a knock on this offense. That's a knock on Joe Barry. But, 49ers, everyone's going to say that Kyle Shanahan's going to run circles around Joe Barry as a play caller. That may be true, but the Packers play like they did with nothing to lose. This is a dangerous team that can be a tough out. And, the 49ers, they don't have Clelin Ferrell. They don't have Drake Jackson. So if the other edge rusher next to Nick Bosa can't get anything going, Love's going to have a clean pocket, and that is going to matter in this game. So that's why I think both teams will score a minimum of 21 points. So I went 28-21 again. Just curious what your score is and what are the, I mean.
This one was a little more difficult. Let's say 31-28 Packers.
All right, that's fair. But yeah, Joey and Tracy are taking the Packers. Oops, almost scrolled down to the next game. We got to save that for the next clip. Sorry, guys. I can't show you what's going to happen. You're going to have to tune in. But yeah, 12-minute video of us, Joey and I, breaking down the Niners and Packers. Video 3 for the live stream is coming up only on TalkShoe and on my YouTube channel for the Lions break.